However, what they are saying privately, whatever they're saying publicly, privately they're saying there has indeed been, as I've been saying on your program and elsewhere for many years, we've had global cooling for many years. In fact, we've now had global cooling for 9 full years. They're admitting this privately in these emails. A very recent one says exactly this. And they're saying it's a travesty that we can't explain it. I can explain it. It's very simple. CO2 doesn't have the warming effect. You've been pretending it does. You've been fooled by your own propaganda. Time to go back, get out the abacus and the counting stones and do your sums again and throw away those big fancy Xbox 360 models because they have been leading you astray. And get back to real science and real measurement, and you will find that the outgoing radiation from the Earth's surface is escaping to space, and we've measured this just recently, just as much as it always was, which means that the greenhouse gases we're putting in the atmosphere are having hardly any effect on that outgoing radiation at all. Therefore, it isn't staying down here to cause warming. QED, whatever is causing the warming, it certainly isn't CO2,
all right,
except to a very, very tiny extent.
Lord Monckton, you gave us an hour earlier this week. I know you're very busy. I'm going to let you go. We also have G. Edward-Griffin here in studio with us. But in closing, I'd like you to give us your website. And then also, you sounded a bit pessimistic a few days ago. Now you sound buoyed, saying that it looks like they're going to have to go the dictatorial, bureaucratic way around the Constitution because even mainstream media is saying their fraud is imploding, especially with the Danish text of the treaty saying the third world has to make right at double the cuts the West did, a bait and switch at the last minute. So give us your website, please, sir. And then in closing, please give us your report, a brief synopsis on things brightening a bit. Or was I wrong in inferring that from what you said?
No, that's very good, because the website, first of all, is scienceandpublicpolicy.org, and I'm doing a more or less daily blog from the conference on scienceandpublicpolicy.org, so you can get all the details of what's in this treaty, all the small print. It's all in there, because I'm giving quite detailed results on that. The reason why I think I remain hopeful, apart from my religion, which teaches us that we should always hope even in the darkest hour. But also, I think it is very clear from the shrill hysteria of the propaganda here that these people know, the ones who are peddling this here in Copenhagen, they know this is the last chance saloon, not for the planet, which was saved 2,000 years ago and doesn't need to be saved again, but for them. They know that if they can't get what they want at Copenhagen, they will never get it again, because the investigations into the ClimateGate emails are going to lead to criminal prosecutions, not only for destroying data which have been validly requested by other scientists to check all these bogus results, but also because these results, in fact, several of them, amount to scientific and financial fraud. And I've had 2 professors on to me, one from America, one from Canada, just in the last few days, saying they want me to put them in touch with the right policeman in the United Kingdom. And in fact, he's a police superintendent in East Anglia Constabulary, so that they can report how they were maneuvered, manipulated, had their papers tampered with, delayed publication, prevented publication, so they couldn't put alternative views. They had papers that should have been in the IPCC's reports suppressed, so they weren't considered. All of these games were going on, and all of these in furtherance of what is now quite clearly the largest and worst financial fraud the world has ever seen. So if they don't get what they want at Copenhagen, they know they'll never get it later, because the fraud prosecutions and investigations will have started. If they do get what they want at Copenhagen, they won't be able to make it stick. Too many people now have cottoned on to the fraud. Too many people, ordinary people that is, people who are not in the governing class, the little guy rather than the big guy. The little guy has now woken up. And if the little guy stands together with the other little guys and just says boo, the big guys will run a mile.
Lord Christopher Monckton, then it's safe to say, with your astute political analysis of this, you've been at the heart of fighting this for more than 2 decades, that the heart of world government, as Ban Ki-moon and Von Rompuy and all of them has said, their global carbon tax dictatorship is hemorrhaging to death? And are you saying all the king's horses, all the king's men, if we the patriots for liberty continue to expose them, that all the king's horses, all the king's men can't put the lying fraud Al Gore back together again?
That's right. I think Humpty Dumpty Gore is now in pieces on the floor, dribbling untidily. The fact that he has had to lie even about the date of the ClimateGate emails, where he's trying to say that they were all at least 10 years old, when most of them weren't even, well, I say some of them weren't even 10 days old. Clearly, there is desperation there now. The fact that this serial liar is lying yet again, and this time about the ClimateGate emails, shows how utterly incredible and useless a figure he has now become. It's time for him to send back his Nobel Peace Prize. It's time for Obama to send back his Nobel Peace Prize. Because the people who should have won it, let's take Irene Sandler, who was nominated for it the same year as Al Gore. You know what she did? When she was a kid, she taught herself plumbing so that she could go into the German ghetto with her huge toolbox of plumbing tools and into the Warsaw Ghetto where the Jews were. And she would then take one Jewish child every day in the Hidden Falls bottom, in her bag, and she got them out, and she saved hundreds of little Jewish children's lives. That's what the Peace Prize should have been given.
Well, we're trying to save the millions of Africans. They want to starve to death. Lord Monckton, thank you so much for the time. You've been gracious enough to say that before the conference ends, you'll pop back in again with us sometime next week. Be safe out there. These vipers are dangerous. God bless you.
And God bless America.
Well, we just did 15 minutes with Lord Christopher Monckton, and I appreciate J. Edward Griffin happily letting him cut into his time. J. Edward Griffin will be with us another 40 minutes. Then we have another guest from Copenhagen, Denmark, joining us, Tom Harris, engineer, executive director of the International Climate Science Coalition, a massive scientific group set up to counter the lies of the UN and the IPCC. But T-minus 40 minutes with J. Edward Griffin. Very exciting to hear from Lord Monckton about the victories we're having against the globalists. And now, New World Order's admitted everywhere. Global governments admitted. It's admitted the IMF, private secretive World Bank, are to keep the money. I mean, this is a rout of these criminals.
Yeah. This message from Lord Monckton is most inspiring to me. It isn't often that, you can look at the daily news and come up with something that makes you feel good. And I really enjoyed that, and I feel like doubling the effort today. He's quite a warrior, isn't he? And I don't know why I've never heard of him until recently. I guess he's been doing that job over on the other side for quite a while.
He's always been traveling around. It's just that it finally hit. The Internet age is here.
Yes.
And plus, he was accusing them of being frauds 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But quickly, before we get into meat and potatoes, you also have an event at Brave New Books tonight, right?
Yes, and that's just kind of a preview to the seminar on Saturday. Also, I'll be answering a lot of questions. Hope I'll be answering the questions anyway. I'll be getting a lot of them, I know. My intent is to do an update on The Creature from Jekyll Island, which is the title of the book on the Federal Reserve System, and put it into focus in terms of what's happening today in the economy. People want to know, how did the Federal Reserve do this? And what are they still doing? What are the plans for the future? I'll be talking about that tonight.
And that's at 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock. Mm-hmm.
And that's down on Guadalupe Street, bravenewbooks.com. Or people can find out all the details at one of your great websites.
It'll be realityzone.com.
And find out about the hotel event and how to get tickets to that for Saturday.
Yeah, that would be great.
It is not too late, folks, to get into that.
Right. We expect a good crowd, so the earlier the reservation is made, the better off it'll be.
Yeah, and you're powerful on the stage. I mean, you're powerful in person, too. On my second time having you in studio, but you're really powerful up there giving a speech.
Well, thank you. I enjoy doing it, and I have a message that I feel very passionate about, so I guess I just worry about the message and forget about the speech.
Every time you're on, I get all these emails from women who just love your voice.
Oh, really? Why don't they send me the emails? That's the way it works.
Oh, my goodness. But getting into banking 311 co-sponsors. It's passed the House committee. It looks like it's going to pass the House. The Senate may block it, but that's putting off the inevitable. People have finally gone past the left and right, the two parties, to the real power structure, the bankers that you've been fighting for 40 years.
Right. You're talking about the proposed bill to audit the Fed.
Yes.
I presume. Yeah. I'd like to comment on that. I support that, of course, but I have some misgivings, which I'll mention for a moment, and then come back to my support statement. When I wrote the book, it was published in 1994, I had a little paragraph or two about the Audit the Fed bill, which in those days was routinely sponsored by Congressman Gonzalez. And I commented then, I said, we don't need to audit the Fed. What we need to do is abolish the Fed.